Hi. What's up? I kind of realized that I've never done like a little intro video before, and now there's 200,000 of you on TikTok, almost 4,000 of you on YouTube, almost 10,000 of you on Instagram, and I feel like, I don't know, I want to say hey. Also, this lens is a little dirty. Let's fix you right up. But I thought, hell, I gotta say hi and introduce myself fully, and I've gotten a good amount of questions on like my job and where I'm from, and so I was like, I'm just gonna do a YouTube video. We're just gonna chat and get to know one another, or I guess you're gonna get to know me, and then maybe you guys can comment and I can get to know you. Where are you guys from? Like, who's watching these videos? I'm from Minneapolis. Well, wait. Whoa, I'm getting ahead of myself. Hi, I'm Sadie Sullivan. Why is this weird? I'm nervous. I'm not gonna just sit and stare at you. I'm gonna also, I have my bin of like makeup and clothes and random shit. Cause I was thinking I could, oh my God, there's a plane. I live really close to the airport and I don't even notice planes anymore unless I'm recording, and then I'm super hyper aware of like everything that's around me. I thought I could do my makeup while I tell you about myself and my job and who I am. Oh, also, I'm doing my nails today, but look it. When you see this, just ignore it, okay? I don't wanna talk about it. Okay, should we get started? Fuck. This is my bad side, this is my good side. Should I put all my makeup over here maybe? I don't want you to have to keep looking at me from this way. First things first, this is Monica. This is my baby. I have her tattooed on my arm. This is what she looked like 5 years ago. This is a new furl. There's a couple other ones back there. She's the love of my life besides my dog, Loki. I have another dog, but he's not the love of my life. I don't know if I should say that. He's just not my soul dog, Rudy. We adopted that dog, but Loki's my like ride or die. I'm making eye contact with him right now. Oof. Anyways, so back to the basics. My name is Sadie Sullivan. I am 29. I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm a freelancer. I went to the University of Minnesota, go Gophs. And I was born and raised in Minneapolis, and I never thought ever that I was gonna leave. I mean, I even have like a Minneapolis tattoo on me. I ask anyone, everyone thought like, Sadie, Minneapolis. My whole family's here, and I'm a very introverted person. I'm a Taurus. I am an 8 Enneagram. I know what I like and I know what I want. And at the time, all through growing up, through high school, through college, I thought Minneapolis was what I wanted. Things change, you guys. We'll get there. I don't even know how to start this. Like, what do you guys want to know? I should have asked like maybe a poll to figure out questions of what I should say. But I have 2 moms. My mom, she's my best friend. She has a partner. She has been in my life since I was like 2 or 3. She is wholeheartedly a mom to me. And then I do have a dad. I have a brother. He was artificially inseminated, so that's my kind of like weird family dynamic. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Owen Sullivan. Owen and I met senior year of high school. Should I use this? I guess I could use this camera to do my makeup. One of my really good friends, Hannah, she introduced us. We were in art class together. And I don't know, we kind of went into it like in the best way we possibly could, which was like, we didn't really expect much of it, especially because we were about to go to college. We were like months away from going off to college, and he was going to the University of San Diego, and I was going to, like I said, the University of Minnesota. This plant over here looks like it has mites. Anyways, we never really thought anything of it. Like, I never went into the relationship being like, this is my man for life, right? That's, I think, how things just kind of happen, you know? He ended up going off to the University of San Diego. I went to the U. College and high school, I didn't love. Like, I loved the school part, but the social part I really hated. Surprise, surprise. I don't have the easiest time making friends. And like, when I find my people, like, those are my people for life. Like, I still have my best friend from when I was in middle school, like actually 2nd grade. I have my best friend from high school. My best friend from when I was studying abroad is still in my life. My best friends from New York are still in my life. Like, I go throughout my life and I pick and choose very specific people, and then those people are with me for the rest of my life. And so I never really go into things like college or high school with the expectation of like, I'm gonna go make friends. I just kind of, people just appear, and if I like them, I embrace them and I never let them go. I don't know, college just wasn't my thing, or high school. How did I get on that topic? I can't remember. But freshman year, I literally like was in a depressive state. Like I couldn't handle being away from him, which looking back, there was a lot of mental health issues going on and I really needed probably therapy, but we were FaceTiming like 8 hours a day, you guys. I mean, like I would get jealous anytime he went out, and like it just was not a good environment. But I basically gave him an ultimatum, and I was like, if you want to continue to be with me, you have to come back to Minnesota. But I'm also totally fine if like that's not something you want to do. I just can't continue to be with someone who's out of state. It just wasn't a healthy dynamic. And he transferred to the U of M. It ended up being obviously the best decision in the entire world because we're still together today, and he's my best friend. But that time was just really dark. This is like a therapy session, you guys. Thanks for listening. I don't know. It's just like, I think I have this tendency to like, I really know what I want, like going back to the conversation about like friends and stuff. And like, I know a friend and who's going to be in my life basically within the first bit of when I meet them. And I felt that way about Owen. And I think it was kind of a test of like, if he comes back and transfers, like he feels the same way too. If he doesn't, I can't be angry with him because, you know, it's his life. But it was a way for me to just kind of weed out a potential person who like maybe didn't feel the same way. And he did, obviously. And things worked out. I got way healthier the more I grew and the more my prefrontal cortex developed. I was in a sorority. I don't even want to talk about that because, oh my God, I was in it for like a split second, like the split of all split seconds. But Owen was in Sigma Chi, and I majored in family social science and minored in family violence prevention. My whole goal was to basically be in social work. Both of my moms are in social work. They're like, when I tell you, they're literally saints, like angels on earth. They worked at drop-in centers, nonprofits. They work directly with homeless youth. And still to this day, my mom, she works for the state government, for the Department of Human Services. And my Ima, she works to be kind of like a victim service advocate in a way, and a liaison between victims and the police, which, as we know, there's been a lot of turmoil between those two groups. And so she's trying to alleviate that and connect people a little bit better. So again, angels on earth. I think I just like got so wrapped up in this idea of like, okay, both of my moms do this, so I have to do it, right? Like I didn't see another option. Oh, that's so nice. Usually I have to dig my finger in there, but I have one finger, nail free. So I didn't even really explore other options of minors and majors and stuff. I just literally went in, and freshman year, by second semester, I declared my major, which is super frowned upon, and I do not suggest, because as you can tell, and as you probably know, I am not in social work anymore. I went through college, I did all that. I did therapy courses, I did family marriage counseling, I learned all about victim service and advocacy, and that was what I was gonna do. My first job out of college was with a nonprofit. I was basically the on-call specialist and a victim service advocate, and I would chat with parents whose kids had gone missing and be a resource for them during that time, whether it was emotional, whether it was talking to the police directly and being kind of mediator between the two groups. It was really dark and really hard work, and I was only there for about 9 or 10 months before I quit, because I realized that I like was not cut out for it. I'm not doing my makeup, I'm just talking. I'm so sorry, this is probably boring. Get it together, Sadie. Okay, I kinda wanna do a bronzy look. Hello, whiplash, okay. Basically, I was like waking up in the middle of the night thinking that people were calling me, and then like they weren't, so I was getting like phantom calls because I was just so nervous that I was gonna miss a call, and in those situations, it can be life or death situations. It was just really, it was tough. Switching out of the career, the guilt I felt for like having gone to school, my grandfather paid for my college, and so I just had this weight of like, if I leave this job and I don't go into something that I went to school for, like, am I letting him down? It was just twisted, because at the end of the day, like, he just wants me to be happy and do what I want, what I love. But it was just overall like a really stressful time, because I felt stupid, like, leaving this job that was not paying well, but paying, and it was my first adult job, you know? Even thinking about that, my like palms are sweating. What do I do after this? I usually do blush. Okay. So I left and I ended up going into Bridal. And the reason for this is because I wanted to actually use my degree still, but in a happier light. When I tell you the shit that you hear when you're a bridal stylist, I was a bridal stylist at Beholden, the shit you hear and the stuff that you have to talk through with brides, I mean, they're at their most vulnerable. Half the time I'm in a dressing room with them butt ass naked, and they're trying on dresses and they're being critiqued by people. And it's just such a moment of vulnerability that I loved being able to be a support system for someone, and being able to like use my therapy and my, you know, talking and advocate skills to be a pillar for brides. And so that was a job I was actually in when COVID hit. I ended up getting furloughed from Beholden because obviously like weddings were canceled, everything was canceled. No one needed a dress really, and you couldn't be in person. And so I got furloughed, and I was paid during furlough for a while until I got unemployment. And I was literally making more on unemployment than I was having worked. It was literally like the first time, I think in forever, that I was able to just like take time off completely and not feel like, you know, at school, if you, during, you know, summer break even, you're still thinking about like sports or camps or, you know, what's going to be happening in the next year or prepping. And like when you're at school, there's homework to do. When you're at work, there's always work to do. Whereas this was a moment of like everything was shut down, nothing was happening, and I could literally just sit and like be. And so that's what I did. I literally like, I purchased the Switch and I literally just gamed, and I hung out with my cousin who was also out of work, and we like worked out every day in her backyard. And it was definitely a moment that like there was a lot of sadness and a lot of anger and a lot of uncertainty in the world, but I had some really good people in my life, and I was fortunate enough to like, you know, be able to take that time to actually just like step away. I finally felt like I knew myself for the first time in like forever, because of that time that I had. I ended up going back to work, and we bought a house and a dog within like a day of each other. And then like 2 days after all of that, my hours got cut at Beholden, because there was like major cuts after COVID. And so I ended up leaving Beholden and working for this like small bridal design company that's based in Minnesota. It was literally a mother-daughter, like mother and two daughters, and they make the most unbelievable bridal accessories. Well, actually, you know what, you guys? I worked for Patina. I don't know if you know Patina, but Patina is this tiny boutique store in Minneapolis, or I guess Minnesota. It's like, there's like 5 locations now. I ended up working for them for like 4 days because I needed a full-time job because we had a mortgage now and a dog and stuff. And my hours got cut with Beholden, so I got this job at Patina as like, I can't even remember. It was like their display something. It's like, I basically was like organizing stuff. Like they would give out what the displays were gonna look like, and I'd build and organize that stuff. But I ended up getting this other job offer from this small bridal company that I was just talking about 4 days after I started. And I always go with my gut because my gut's never let me down. And I knew when I got that email that this is where I belonged, this small bridal store. And so I left Patina after 4 days, which is such, I know you're not supposed to do that. It was definitely like burn some bridges there, but it is what it is, because now look where I am. Everything happens for a reason in my head. I should put mascara on. So I ended up working at this small bridal company for 3 years, and they were just such kind people, so talented. I worked at this bridal store for like 2 years before I moved to New York. And moving to New York, as you guys know, like I had mentioned, Minneapolis was my home, my ride or die. But when you know, you know. Again, you go with your gut. And so I had visited New York with my husband in 2021 or 2022. We were visiting New York because 2 of our best friends live there, and they were sneaky little bitches, And they were working basically to get us to move there. So they pulled out all the stops. We went to like the best coffee shops. We were in the cutest neighborhood. They showed us all these parks and like, look, Loki would thrive here. He could go to this park. He could go to this park. Like they were really pulling out all the stops and it worked. And I fell in love. And when we came back to Minnesota, it was the first time that when I landed, I cried because I didn't want to be here. And I had never felt that way before. It had always been kind of the opposite where like I was ready to come home after trips, and this one I was just like, I never want to leave. I chatted with the company that I was at, was like, I'd love to continue to work with you guys if that's okay, but just in New York, and I would do more of your like socials and marketing side of things. And we ended up working it out where I worked at this bridal shop just remotely for about a year. But it just became like very clear after we moved to New York that it wasn't a remote job. You know, it was all trial and error. It was just like, when you're that small, a lot of the brand and what you do is just like that collaboration and being in the same space and being creative together. And I wasn't there for that, you know? I spent a while applying to jobs. And at that time, I came to the realization that I really loved socials. And so I kind of realized that spark and that creativity of like, I really like doing this and I love what socials are and what they're turning into. And so I looked specifically for like social media jobs, social media management roles. And when I tell you guys, applying for jobs is one of the worst things in the world. I hate doing it. I never want to do it again. I know I'll have to, but you can't just apply on LinkedIn. You can't just go and say, oh, great, submit resume, and then like hope for the best. I submitted probably 50 resumes and didn't hear back from like 90% of them. You have to do LinkedIn Connects. You have to meet with people. You need to network. It's just, it's the way you got to do it, because so many people have access now to LinkedIn and these like remote applications. Any job offer that is posted, it's basically flooded with spam or like random people applying that have nothing to do with the job or any experience. So taking that step and like really trying to network, you know, show them that like you're a real person who has the skill set that they're looking for. That's what's going to differentiate you from the crowd, you know? So I ended up networking, chatting with a bunch of people. I connected with my brother's girlfriend's dad who knew someone at a social media agency. And so I set up a call with this person at the social media agency. You know, if you're lucky, and I was lucky, I ended up getting a referral from this guy because there was some job openings. I applied and then I did interviews, and I went through 3 or 4 round interview, and I got a job as a social media manager at an agency. We moved back to Minnesota, back to the house that we're in right now, which we had rented out while we were in New York. Also, I think I'm done with my makeup. What do we think? Anyways, I ended up moving back to Minnesota, and I worked at this job for a little less than a year. I guess the one piece of advice that I can give people if you're looking at agencies is I wouldn't trade my time there for anything, because it set me up for such a successful role that I am in now. But it's hard and the hours are crazy. You get paid really poorly and you're expendable. This is kind of harsh, but like you're replying to comments and doing kind of all this like grunt work, but you get to be a part of really cool things like shoots and concepting, brainstorming, and these like conversations with big brands that you never would have worked with on your own. And then you work your way up from there. I ended up leaving because I had a panic attack in a meeting. And so in my head, I'm like, if I am working in a space where we're advertising and trying to just like sell stuff and I'm having a panic attack, like my body is telling me right now, you're done. Something needs to change. Is this gonna die? I'm gonna plug you in quick. Where was I? The moral of that story is that it's hard work, and if you can do it, I recommend it because it gives you connections that you wouldn't make elsewhere. So, you know what I forgot to do? My eyebrows. At that point, I had been posting on TikTok pretty consistently for about a year, and I was at like 100,000 followers at that point, which is crazy. I'm like, what? So I was making a little bit of money off of TikTok, and then I had a side like gig that I was doing for my husband's company where I was helping with their website updates and their socials. And so I kind of came to the realization, like, I think I could probably branch out and start getting more of those gigs. To give myself the chance to like start posting regularly on TikTok more consistently, and see if that can bring in more opportunities. And it did. I was very lucky. Like what my work encompasses now is I get a sliver of income from the Creator Fund. I get some money from like brand deals and branded content and stuff, but majority of my income comes from like side work that I do. So I do socials for other brands and like companies. I help build out content calendars for them. I give them insight and strategy insights. I just also edit and film content for some folks. So like I'll go to shoots for campaigns that they have, and I basically have like a day rate, an editing rate, a concepting rate, and you can kind of a la carte choose and like pick and choose from there what you want as a brand. I also work with a musician right now, and I help with her socials. So I'll meet up with her, or I'll go to her concerts or whatnot, and I'll get footage for her. I'm kind of just going with the flow right now. Like I haven't really had to sit down and market myself. I guess I am kind of marketing myself with my TikTok. Like I view my TikTok as my portfolio, which like if you're trying to get into this work and like do freelance stuff, I really highly suggest, like I've been able to show that I know kind of what I'm talking about with socials, right? Like I've built a base, I've built an audience that clearly I can communicate and connect with folks. That's all some of these brands and people need to see. Just post. I know it feels weird and it's scary. It's not. And the people who think it is weird, like they're probably working boring fucking jobs. My biggest suggestion though, I would find that niche and like really figure out what you want your vibe and your tone to be. I found that like my niche is nails. I love doing my nails. I love sharing the DIY process. I love the artistic and creative outlet that it gives me. And I learned how to film that and edit it down in a way that you guys love to gobble up, right? That's a niche. But I also found that I love fashion. I love perfumes. I love coffee. I like baking. Like those things too. Those can also be on your platforms, and they are on mine, and that's how I get some brand deals. Like I've worked with Olipop, I've worked with Good Chemistry, I've worked with coffee brands, and it all that comes because I post relevant content to it. Don't feel like, okay, I want to be a humor account, so that's all I can post, or I want to be a fashion account, and that's all I can post. You can post whatever the hell you want. Does that make sense, or was I just rambling for no fucking reason? Now, I love my job. I love what I do. It has been so fun. I get to decide the work that I do, and I think that is so cool, you know? And I'm so grateful for you guys because you made it possible. And I'm really grateful for my best friend, Jen, who is the one who literally said, like, start posting, just do it. And I wouldn't be here without her. And my husband and so many people where it's just like, you gotta have a good crew. Because doing it, taking that plunge, it's really scary. What else? Well, I guess I'm hoping to do more of these once I get the hang of it, you know? So if you have more questions or you want to know more, I can, you know, maybe compile and be a little bit more organized the next time with like ready questions that I can answer. That was just like a little intro and a chat of like how I got to where I am. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this was interesting. And now I am gonna go fix this because the entire time I was doing this, it was pissing me off. I know I'm gonna watch back and edit this and be like, gross, but it's fine. Everything's fine. I love you guys. Thank you for everything. You're the best, and I'll see you very soon.